Throwdown Thursday, as my parents call it, that day of the week, Thursday. Our guy, Daniel Jeremiah, dropped his mock draft 3.0 this week, and no surprise, Caleb Williams going first overall to the Bears, followed by Drake May to the Commanders, and Jaden Daniels to the Patriots. After that, it gets a little interesting. He has the Vikings trading up for J.J. McCarthy at 4, and the Raiders selecting Michael Penix Jr. at 13. So for our first throwdown, which quarterback-hungry team will be more intriguing on draft day, the Vikings or the Raiders, Jason?
I'm rolling with the Vikings here. I think the Vikings need to do something more than the Raiders. For the Raiders, you look at it, Josh McDaniels there. They're entering a new regime. Antonio Pierce takes over, and they've went out and they've gotten Gardner Minshew. And I feel like you have a little bit of time to figure out what's going to be next for this organization. On the Vikings' hand, it's just like you've had that girlfriend for a long time, and you don't know if that you should take that next step and go ahead and get that ring and really commit to her for the rest of your life. But it's like at the same time, what's behind door number 2 can be really scary, but then you see her go off and get married to somebody else and it looks like they're having kids. They're in the honeymoon phase. And for the Vikings right now, last offseason, they decided to let Kirk Cousins play out. They restructured him and play out his contract. Kirk Cousins now has gone. The girlfriend has left, and she has found the person that is right for her. As you watch him donning Atlanta Falcons in the chain and everything that's going on, and there's Vikings fans like, you know what? We're tired. We saw what Kirk Cousins had to give us, and we're ready to find something new. They've signed Sam Darnold. They say they really like Darnold and believe that him in the right situation, maybe he can do something. We saw from Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft, move up and get a guy like J.J. McCarthy. Who knows how far they'll move up if they're willing to do so. But I look at the Vikings. Kirk Cousins is a guy, you can say whatever you want to say about him. He's going to keep people employed because with Kirk Cousins out there, you're going to win games. You're going to be in the playoffs. You're putting up numbers. So for Kevin O'Connell, for Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah, you had a guy that was productive for you. You decided to move on. What is going to be the solution? I feel like them as a quarterback-hungry team, you need to figure out who that guy is going to be. Are you really telling us that it's Sam Darnold? He is going to be the guy for the future, or is it one of these guys in the draft that you're willing to move up and go and pluck? The Raiders, I feel like, have some time on this.
They made a trade last week with Houston to pick up the 23rd pick, too. Yep. So now they have a little bit more arsenal. They can go 11 and 23 and then maybe package that and something else and move all the way up. That's great. I look at the Raiders, and as much as Sam Darnold might not be the guy long-term, I don't know if Gardner Minshew is either. I don't feel like they signed Minshew as the future Raiders signal caller that's going to take them to great glory. I think they signed Gardner Minshew because he's a good NFL quarterback to have in your building, and if he can win you some games, he can win you some games. But I don't know if that's the future. The part that really intrigues me is the connection between Antonio Pierce and Jaden Daniels. Antonio Pierce is at Arizona State as a coach under Herm Edwards, and Jaden Daniels was the quarterback. The relationship, I'm told, is through the roof. Not only in a mentor type way, but also in a friendship and also in a coaching way. Like really leaned on him a lot. Jaden Daniels transfers last couple years, goes to LSU, and Antonio Pierce, of course, goes on this NFL journey. You also add in a new general manager, and that's Tom Telesco. Tom Telesco comes from the Chargers. Very rare do you see a general manager fired from one division rival and then hired that same offseason by another. But I don't think Telesco's here to sit on his hands and say, let's take a nice slow build and figure this out. No, you've got veteran players all over that roster. You've got Devontae Adams. You've got Max Crosby, who's gonna want to see wins right away. And you just signed, of course, Christian Wilkins. So I say all this because I think the Raiders line in the weeds a little bit at 13. And yeah, maybe Michael Penix is the pick, and that seems like that was a little bit of a reach based on what you're seeing other people write about Penix and where he went in mock draft 3.0 by Daniel Jeremiah. But I look at Jaden Daniels. Does Tom Telesco become a riverboat gambler and get on the phone and call Washington or call the Patriots and say, we'll give you the next 3 drafts. We want to get Jaden Daniels because Antonio Pierce and Jaden Daniels have an incredible relationship. Silver and black, Mark Davis, all this stuff tells me renegade Maverick. And as much as the Vikings think they're doing the prudent thing and collecting picks, don't count out the Raiders. I think their franchise as a whole has always taken big swings, and I think they've been sitting on their hands a little bit this offseason waiting for a big swing at quarterback.
I like the connection there with AP and with Daniels. Yeah. And I think if you're the Raiders, like they've got the squad, and you, like AP turned the light on. Like all of a sudden they came to life when Antonio Pierce took over. They beat the Chiefs.
They did. I mean, Christmas Day.
That hadn't happened in years. So the Raiders could be scary if you get them a quarterback. But I look at offensive talent, and I look at what's going on in Minnesota right now. When you look at what the Vikings have.
Talk about it.
Are you kidding me? If you're Kevin O'Connell right now, I'll trade everything. You want my couch? What do you want? You want all my squirrels? What do you want? What else can I give you to help you make the decision to give me a quarterback? You've got T.J. Hawkinson. He was almost a 1,000-yard receiver last year. You got Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. All they're waiting for is some magic arm to come in there and just deliver this ball.
And
That's
Aaron
all I need.
Jones now, too.
Look, Kevin O'Connell won games with Josh Dobbs. Like, we had Jamie over here with a Dobbs taped up jersey with the tape number 15 on there because nobody knew who the guy was. And he had just, he was living in a hotel. And yet they won games with him. And
the pasture.
I think the pasture. Well, for the Vikings right now, if you're a Vikings fan and Skull is great and all that stuff, we need points. Like, give us a quarterback that can deliver the ball to these stars, because Jefferson, one of the best in the game, if not the best. And I think you've got to have somebody that can sling. You've got to have somebody that can get the ball out there on those big explosive plays. And Kevin O'Connell's got to be licking his chops.
Yeah, Justin Jefferson, I think it's like, hey guys, what's going on here? Who's going to be throwing the ball? Like, I think that they are such an interesting team, the Vikings, where they are right now, because the quarterback position is obviously completely unsettled. And the last time they had a franchise quarterback, you have to go back to Fran Tarkenton, back when JFK was alive and a president. Like, this has been so long that the Vikings have wanted and needed a franchise quarterback. And yes, Kirk Cousins was doing his thing for a while, and he was probably playing the best of his career before he got hurt last season. But Justin Jefferson, he needs answers just as much as Vikings fans do, and everyone around the NFL watching the Vikings right now, because Justin Jefferson is still on his rookie contract. So you could say, well, Davante Adams also wants to know who's going to be throwing the ball, but he's in a very different part of his career. And Justin Jefferson was boys with Kirko, as he called Kirk Cousins. So I think that this is super interesting. And I saw the other day, Alec Lewis, who's the Vikings beat writer for The Athletic, he put out a tweet talking about how back in 2018 that Josh McCown, who's now the Vikings quarterback coach, and Sam Darnold, who they signed through free agency, they watched every single Drake May high school game to give feedback. And sure, they're not making the pick at all, but I think that little wrinkle is also interesting, that the two of them would sit together, watch his tape, come up with feedback and criticisms, and this is going back to his high school time. So I like the idea of the Vikings trading up like DJ has in his mock draft, but we just have to wait and see who they will actually take.
It's crazy. We were talking about, like, should Caleb Williams say, I don't want to go number one overall? Like, there's been some banter about, like, does he pull a John Elway?
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, I never said that. Go.
Not you. Did I say you said that?
We.
Oh, sorry.
That's not our.
There's been banter out there about how he should forego being selected number one overall because the Bears are in such dysfunction. If that is the case, and if that is true, and if people believe that, you could make the case that the Minnesota Vikings would be the one team that every quarterback in this draft wants to go to because of the receivers we just talked about, and they have two of the best tackles in the league right now, Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill. So you look at a young quarterback getting drafted, you're going to Chicago, it's like, man, the offensive line is like work in progress.
The reason with the Drake May thing, obviously, if you know, Josh McCown was coaching Drake May in high school a couple of years back when he was out of the league. So there's a lot of connection there.
Teammates with Sam Darnold,
connecting the dots little by little. Okay, let's go to the next